onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to another live episode of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma, and today we will be talking about the duties to parents. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. There's no blessing greater to the human being than to have a mother and a father. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the gift of having parents, for the mercy of having a mother and having a father, for the guidance, for the love, the kindness, the mercy, for the cultivation, all the other blessings that parents have given us. So how do we repay them back? Today we'll be visiting these topics, but first let me introduce my noble guest all the way from Skandariya. We have Brother Yasser Ashqar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, man, for hosting me today and these honorable guests. And I hope this show will be beneficial for all Muslims worldwide, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Brother Yasser, please tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Yasser Abu Bakr al-Ashqar. I'm from Alexandria, Morocco, Kuwait, India, Pakistan, Saudi, you know, pretty much everywhere. So, alhamdulillah. Yeah. And I'm trying to do my master's degree in commerce. So, make dua for me, you know, in these horrible days, you know, we're living in. And also pray for the Muslims all around the world, you know, all around the globe, for the well-being of all of us, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala. Secondly, we have our brother Ismail, the resident scholar, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, al-Azhari. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. How are you, brother Ismail?
Good.
MashaAllah. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Ismail Charawali from Sierra Leone. Of course, you've been to Liberia.
Alhamdulillah.
You could have just crossed the border and then you would be in Sierra Leone. I'm a Sierra Leonean, actually. I'm studying here at Al-Azhar University, Islamic Studies. Yes. And I'm pleased to be here at Huda TV.
Alhamdulillah. The pleasure is ours, brother Ismail.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Secondly, we have our noble brother here who always enlightens us, brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please tell us a bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
I'm Amin Muhammad Amin. I'm working as a project engineer here in Egypt. I'm studying Higher Institute as Islamic Studies at the Higher Institute of Islamic Studies in Medinat Nasr. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this effort exclusive for His sake and to accept it from all of us.
Ameen, Allahumma ameen. Last but certainly not least, we have our brother. He was out sick for a few weeks, but alhamdulillah, he's back. May Allah, you know, restore his health and bless him in his endeavors, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Idris, please tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Idris Surat. I'm here teaching English and studying Arabic and Quran as much as I possibly can, and trying to benefit generally with my family here while I'm here, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So let's get directly into the topic. We're going to be talking about the duties to parents. I want to start, as we always do, by qualifying the term duties to parents. What do we mean when we say duties to parents? How do we, you know, sort of express this term?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, we can identify the term duties to parents by these terms, which are, you know, you can say honor, respect, you know, having admiration, you know, appreciation, actually, you know, just smile. I mean, even the smallest thing towards your parents could be a duty, a compulsory duty upon you as a daughter or as a son, you know. That's pretty much it.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Brother Ismail?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Duties to parents actually are things that every human being should have to respect, because Almighty Allah says in the Holy Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَقَدَ رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُ إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You see, God said, you know, He has ordained that the human beings should always worship Him. And after that, you should always be kind to your parents. So being kind to parents actually are duties that all of us as human beings, we should always respect, because they actually are the people who brought you to this life. They are, through them, we come to this life. So you always have to, to be kind to them. You can't reward them, because imagine the pains, as mentioned in the Holy Quran, of the mother when she became pregnant. From there, all the troubles, the father finding a job, finding a place, I mean, to try to sponsor his children. That's a very, very difficult situation. So God said that we should worship him and be kind to your parents. And the verse continues, saying that if they get older, when they cannot do anything, then they depend on you after God. So you always have to serve them. You don't have to even say no to them, or maybe take them out of your house like it happens today. So I think that this subject is going to be very beneficial to our audience.
Inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah.
Barakallahu feek. Brother Amin, alhamdulillah, please enlighten us on the duties of the parents.
The word duty, which is wajib, duty means to give others their rights. Duty of the people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Duty of parents, or duty of children towards parents, to give parents the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sanctioned or legislated or ordered us to do, and in the custom as well. Al-birru al-ma'ruf shar'an wa urfan, to treat them with kindness and appreciation, with kindness and with devotion, and to be obedient to them. This is from the legislative term. And urfan, customs, the people know. You have to appreciate your father. Your father can maybe may commanded you or asked you to do something which is not sinful, which is not considered as a sin, but it's shame. You have to obey your father because you are ordered to do that. Okay, so duty means to obey your fathers and give your parents and give them their rights. Okay.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Brother Idris?
Yes, pretty much everybody summed up basically what the term, what we're looking at is. I'll just summarize it to say is that it's the obligations that you're required upon towards your parents. The things that are required from you. What are they? Because I think often especially these days, people are confused on what's required, especially when there seems to be a big gap between the generations these days, where time is going by and the generations are not understanding each other. So it's important for us to understand these obligations towards our parents, and what will Allah hold you accountable for, what He won't, and exactly what is your stance in this whole parent and child situation. So,
SubhanAllah. I'm thinking about my mother here. May Allah bless her. She grew up in a Christian household. She grew up for a predominant part of her life. She grew up a Christian. So in our upbringing, she used to give us tarbiyah with sort of biblical verses and things like that. She would teach us from the Bible and things like this. And it wasn't until later on in my life that I began to connect the biblical verses to things I would find in the Quran. And one of the things as such was she would say, honor your parents and your days will be long. All right? So, if you honor your parents, Allah Ta'ala will bless you with a long, beneficial life. And I actually found an ayah in the Quran recently, and I was reading the Quran, and it blew me away, the sort of things. But that leads me into the next question. What are some of the virtues of honoring your parents? We understand that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will bless you in the afterlife, in the akhirah, but what are some virtues even in this life as well as the akhirah? We can mention some of those things as well, Brother Yasir.
Well, how about Jannah?
Okay.
So
I can get down with that.
Yeah. But as for life, our life that we're living right now, I think I believe that if you be good to your parents, imagine if you're walking with friends, and imagine if you're walking with your either father or mother, okay, and then a bunch of your friends pass by, you'd be embarrassed, right? You're trying to hide yourself. I don't want them to see my mother or to see my father, look at his father, look at his mother, you know, they're gonna be joking about it. So I just don't want to be embarrassed. You understand? Now imagine if you feel pride, if you feel, you know, proud that you have a father or a mother like this or like that, you know, who raised you right, who made you appreciate them in the right manner. You're gonna have the respect. You're gonna have the respect. You'll get the respect of your neighbors, of your surroundings, of your family, that you've been raised in a correct way. You're obedient to your parents. You're not disobedient. I mean, this is enough. Some people would be, just like Brother Ismail said, they would throw them out when they get old. I mean, where would they go? I swear I've seen examples in the Gulf, you know, in our countries, you know. As soon as a kid would, you know, graduate from school and start earning some money, you know, he threw his parents out of his house, you know, or put him in a foster care or some, you know, I don't know what they call it.
In a nursing home.
Yeah, in a nursing home. So I mean, this cold. I mean, where'd you have the heart to do it? So imagine whatever you're gonna do to your parents, it'll be done to you by your own sons and daughters.
Sure, sure.
And you know, karma, you know, karma.
That's a good virtue. And I remember a story. I don't know if you guys heard the story before, but there was a gentleman. He was an older gentleman, right? His son was beating him up, right? And people came to, like, you know, break it up. And he said, "Leave him alone," right? And he told his son, he said, "When I was younger, I beat my father up, but I didn't kill him. So don't kill me," right?
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's the justice or whatever.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah, what goes around comes back around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brother Ismail.
Well, like my brother has mentioned, the duties, you know, that every, you know, daughter or son should always think about, because our parents are like our, you know, precious, you know, gift from God. You know, no matter how you are, when you were young, you had some problems, some troubles going to school. Sometimes you refuse going to school. They always stand there trying to protect you. When you are sick, they spend nights and days without going to bed just because of you. So I mean, when you become someone, whether you are wealthy, you should always think about your parents, you know, because I mean, there is nobody in this world who is very close to you than your parents, you know. You know, you may have some good friends. A wife can leave you, you know, a friend can leave you, but your parents will never leave you, you know. So, I mean, what we should do as our duties is to always respect them. Sometimes people do not have things to give them. You don't have money, but what about the respect that you need to give them? Because not everybody is wealthy. Sometimes even the parents are wealthier than their children. But what you should do is to respect them. You talk to them good, you know, try to be kind to them. Even like today we have the technology. For example, I always try to call my mom at home, because I don't have the time to go all the time to you know, visit her. But what I do is to call her and talk to her, and when she gives me some blessings, I feel so happy, you know, than any other person. Even like an imam giving me the blessings, the one I get from my parents, I feel like I'm pleasing my parents. You know, it makes me actually very happy. Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Amin.
Before we speak about the virtues and the reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give the person who treat his parents in will and kindness, I'd like to know how Islam prompted us to give our parents their duties. First, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in one verse, قُلْ تَعَالَوْا أَتْلُوا مَا حَرَّمَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ قُلْ تَعَالَوْا أَتْلُوا مَا حَرَّمَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ أَلَّا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وبالوالدين إحسانا ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله ولا تقتلوا أولادكم من إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياهم ولا تقتلوا النفس ولا تقربوا الفواحش ولا تقتلوا النفس, to the end of the verse. Allah in this verse called the verse of prohibition, آية المحرمات. In this verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated many things which is impermissible. And among these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us with one do. He first said subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَلَّا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Don't associate other with Allah. Okay. أَلَّا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Don't associate other. Then, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ مِنْ إِمْلَاقٍ. And don't kill your children due to or because of bankruptcy.
Poverty, yeah.
Yes, and poverty. And then, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا. Don't be near to any manifestation which of shamelessness. And then, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا. Don't kill any soul without any justification. And among this, Allah stated, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. To treat your parents, to treat parents with kindness and respect, to serve them. What does mean? This means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to tell us that you are ordered to treat with your parents with the best way you can possibly do. Why? Because any shortage in this bond or relationship, you will be considered sinful. This is the verse. Don't do shirk. Don't kill your children. Don't do that and that. And do one thing. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. This is because it is a high level. You have any short of this relationship, you will be considered sinful. Another hadith, one came to the Prophet ﷺ, a person came and asked the Prophet ﷺ, أَيُّ الْأَعْمَالِ أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Which is the most favored deed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Prophet ﷺ said, الصَّلَاةُ عَلَى وَقْتِهَا. To perform a prayer at its fixed time. And which next? The Prophet ﷺ said, بِرُّ الْوَالِدَيْنِ. Treat parents well. In another hadith, synonymous or analogous to this hadith, hadith Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu asked the Prophet ﷺ the same questions. Which is the most dearest deed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Prophet ﷺ said, الصلاة على وقتها. To perform prayers. And which next? قال بِرُّ الْوَالِدَيْنِ. Treat parents well. And which next? الجهاد في سبيل الله. To participate in jihad for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The most prominent thing in Islam pertaining to treating parents with kindness and respect is that Islam prompted us to treat parents even they are disbelievers. Even they are disbelievers. Asma bint Abi Bakr radiallahu anha came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, asked about this particularly. Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, my mother came to me in order to help her, to entertain her. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to her and ordered her, respect the bond of relationship with your mother and entertain her. So this is a remarkable hadith. If we talk about the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I wanted to mention one hadith. Sorry. Okay, after my brother this.
Finish your statement.
Okay, one hadith, we all heard the hadith about the three men came to the three men were walking the street and the rain began to fall and then entered the cave and the rock rolled over. Every one of them began to supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with righteous deed. One of them supplicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to remove this rock by his well treating to his parents. Allahumma innahu kana li abawayni shaykhani kabiran la akhbiqu alayhima ahli wa la mali. And he supplicated Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with righteous deed, and then the rock moved a little bit. But this is one reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the hardship easy with good treatment or treating to the parents.
SubhanAllah. Brother Idris?
For me, all this, they've covered a lot of it. There's so many different rewards, and most of the things come from the hadith. There's not a lot from the Quran directly giving rewards, but the number one thing I can say of is probably, in my opinion, the most important thing is that pleasing your parents will earn you the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what we all strive for, is to make your our Rabb happy. If He is pleased with you for one action you did, khalas, you probably achieved success.
That's true.
So the number one motivator I would tell everyone is that forget about the dunya, forget about everything, forget about how it makes you feel. Just try to remember that this action is high on the scale of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's good deeds. And this action could possibly be the one that tilts your scale over. and a day when we all need as many good deeds and as much rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as we can get. So that's the number one motivation for me, is that, try to remember this, regardless of the situation between you and your parents. Remember why you're doing it, and because everyone's situation is different, you'll be able to find the right way to act and treat and do well if you remember that.
Inshallah, tabarakallah. We're going to pause for a short break, inshallah ta'ala. We'll be right back to continue this very enlightening and beneficial discussion regarding the duties to the parents. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
My teacher told me a story one time of a man who was walking with his son in the park. And they're walking together, and his son looked at a crow in a tree. And he said, "Baba, what's that?" It's like a 2-year-old kid. Baba said, "It's a crow." And he said, "Baba, what's that?" And he said, "It's a crow." "Oh, okay." "Baba, what's that?" "It's a crow." "Oh, a crow. What's that?" "It's a crow." It went on for 10 minutes. He asked him 30 times, he counted. Dad kept a score, and he put it in his little journal. "My son, today we were walking in the park, asked me about a crow 30 times. It was the cutest thing in the world." 30 years go by. The son is not 2, the son is 32. Father calls him, "Son, can I come over?" "Dad, it's not a good time right now." "Son, just bear with me. I just need like 10 to 15 minutes. That's all I need. Just go for a drive. I need to talk to you about something." Whatever. You know what? Okay, fine. So he comes over, gets in the car, they go over, drive over to a park. "What's this about, Dad? Can you tell me quickly? I got things to do." "Just take a walk with me, son. It's okay." You take a walk. You see a crow in a tree. The dad says, "Son, what's that?" "Seriously, Father? It's a crow." "Oh, son, what's that?" "Is this a game? I have things to do, okay? It's a crow. You can't see, I just got you new glasses last month. Why is this happening to me? Dad, why are you so difficult? I don't understand what the problem is. Just tell me what you really want. I'm busy, okay?" The dad pulls out his journal. He says, "Son, this is something that happened 30 years ago. We were walking down this park. You saw a crow. And you asked me 30 times. And I gave you a smile every time. You couldn't handle twice. What are we giving our parents?" I'm not even bringing Allah into the picture. The fact that Allah mentioned Himself and then mentioned His parents is, you think about that. But what have they done for us, and what have we done for them? What have we done for them? How many parents leave, like their children are in ICUs, and they stand there and hovering over this little glass box with a baby inside, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, standing in a hospital, not even sitting down, standing in a hospital. Like feeding off of like vending machines. And that same kid grows up and doesn't have the time to call. That same kid. You know? How many mothers almost died giving birth? Almost died giving birth. And now it's so difficult to respond to her call. Or to just give her just a couple of minutes a day. Just let her feel a little important. You know how unfair that is, that you were the most important thing to them and they are so insignificant to you? How unfair that is? You know? They carry that pain with them every day, that I am nothing to my children. I mean nothing to them, I'm worthless to them. You know, they have no time for me. When something is worth something to you, it gets your time. Most of you at this age, you want to just get away from your parents. You just want to be with your friends. You want to be on your own. You just don't want to be with your parents. You know? That's you develop this crooked habit now, and it will only get worse over time. Our parents have very, very, very strong emotions. They're very protective of us. For them, you won't know this until you become a parent. For them, it doesn't matter when you turn 60, you're still their baby. They still remember changing your diaper. They still remember feeding you milk. They still remember burping you and cleaning up after you peed in the back seat. They still remember that. You don't remember that, they remember that. My son won't remember that. I was like, I gotta go. Then all of a sudden he stops complaining. I'm like, oh, time to roll down the windows. Then he starts talking about what toy are we gonna get for Eid. I'm like, oh, okay. This has not been a good day for the car.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to our live episode of Let's Talk. Today we're talking about the very, very beneficial topic of duties to the parents. Alhamdulillah, thus far we have qualified the term duties to parents, and we talked about some of the virtues of duties to parents. Now we want to go a bit more specifically into what are some particular specific things that you can do for your parents, and some things that you can do to honor them and to achieve both the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the pleasure of your parents. We're going to start with Brother Yasir, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If they were alive, just start pleasing them. If they were, if they passed away and they were dead, then do one of these things. Waladun salihun yad'u lah. So make dua for them. Start working on your deen, and before you make prayers, you have to work on your deen first, and then pray for them, make dua for them, that Allah have mercy on the soul. Yarhamhum Allah, like may Allah yaghfir lahum dhunubahum, may Allah forgive their sins and have mercy on them. Start printing some books or small brochures with some adhkar or ad'iyah or dua, to ease the prayers for Muslims who are ignorant or they're not knowledgeable enough to know the dua or most adhkar. This is one way. This is another way. If they were alive, start pleasing them in every way possible. Like if your father said divorce your wife, you have to divorce your wife. You know what I mean?
Inshallah, no, it doesn't come down to that. I mean, Ibrahim told Ismail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he came right.
Inshallah, doesn't go there. Inshallah.
Not just وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب. So it means like if they strive you to commit shirk with Allah, then say no. Except for that, accept anything. I mean, except for that, you have to approve anything, except for shirk. If you don't know, like whatever you know, Brother Amin or Brother Idris, please correct me if I'm wrong after I'm finished. So
outside private.
So Ibrahim alayhi salam, he walked in one day and he saw he didn't find his son Ismail, and he found his first wife. He asked her, how's your man doing? How's you doing? And she said, we're hungry, we don't have food, we don't have this. She started complaining and whining and all that. That woman does. Most women. Right? Yeah.
You're fired today, huh? Okay.
Some women. Okay. So, so he said, well, tell Ismail that a man with my description says hi and, change the doorstep. So she was silly enough to tell him so, and she told him, he says, change the doorstep. He said, that was my father, and he said, I should divorce you. So she was divorced, and he married another one from her same tribe, and she had a great virtues, she had great morals. Yeah, so bottom line, just obey your parents in every way possible.
Okay. Thank you
Right.
for that story, brother Yasser. we don't support brother Yasser condemning our
extreme, yeah.
sisters. But alhamdulillah, brother Ismail.
Well, actually, he has said a lot about what we should do. Further, I like to look at the area of the things that we need to do. One, make sure that they have peace.
Sure.
Because in this life, even if you have wealth, you are not in peace. You don't enjoy that wealth. So there are people who actually do give their parents, like they help them financially, but they are not in peace because they don't give them, that kind of respect they need. So try to make sure that they are in peace. That's number one. Number two, we know that when they are old, they always need medical attention. So don't forget always, don't say, I'm going to, when my mom or my dad gets sick, I'll rush him or her to the hospital. Try to always, know about how they are doing, and I get them, maybe a doctor to treat them, to look at them, I think that's, shows, the interest. They will be very happy, even when they are not sick. But if they see a doctor coming to ask them how they are feeling, they will be very, very happy. Okay, and also try to provide them at least what they need. They need food, they need a good place to stay. Today there are too many people who have money, but they prefer not to even stay with their own parents. Imagine, they can go and rent a place for them, I don't want to be, together with my parents because of the problems they will be calling me. I mean, we
Takes a
always
lot of
have to be
patience.
patient, because, the thing is, of course, death comes to people, at the time that, God has fixed. But most of the time, we bury our own parents, They die before us, So what you should do, don't wait to regret tomorrow that, oh, I should have done this for my parents, Try to do as much as you can. I think this, you should compete in your own self that, oh, I did this to my parents, I have to do more.
That's true, yeah.
Because tomorrow, when they are no longer living here, you will be in peace that, oh, I did something. But don't wait to regret tomorrow that, oh, all the wealth that I have right now, I couldn't benefit even my parents, they are gone because you are being so stingy, to them, you don't give them what they, they needed. So I'm sure we have to make sure that we give them food, good shelter, company, go to them and talk to them all the time, try to be very close to them, ask them about what, this actually, it makes them happy. And when they are happy, God will be happy for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
SubhanAllah, something, Brother Ismail, I'm just thinking about this, how the ayah comes, اعبدوا الله وبروا
اعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا.
Yeah, وبروا الوالدين إحسانا.
No.
And I'm thinking some of the ulama say that the reason why Allah Ta'ala brought the two together in the same ayah is that for a person, the first means to learn Tawheed, to obeying Allah, is through being obedient to your parents. How? Because as a child, your parents are the one that feed you, they guide you, they protect you, they teach you, they cultivate you. They're the biggest sort of supporters and nourishers that you know.
Yeah.
So if you are able to turn around and disregard and disrespect and disobey your parents,
All of these things.
how can you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who you have never seen
Right.
Great.
and say, I'm worshiping Allah, but I'm going to turn my back on the people that guided me, that protected me, that loved me, that cared for me? How? How can you be a Muslim and you say, I'm praying to Allah, but I disrespect my parents, but I disregard them, and they've done all these things for you? So the ayah, the things are very much so connected, that to be a good Muslim, to be a good worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it starts with obeying the parents, right? Likewise, in your parents in the tarbiyah, they grow up, and growing you, they say, don't do these things, stay away from this, be careful of doing that. And if you are able to obey them in that way, then you have the mindset that will say, okay, Allah Ta'ala said, don't do this, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Yes.
Allah Ta'ala said, stay away from this, I'm going to stay away from it. So in that tarbiyah and obeying the parents, that's the first steps to being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's easy to me. One of the most easiest acts of ibadah is to love my parents, because it's natural. There's no burden on me to love my parents, to respect them, to say something sweet to them. It's easy. And it's something that's beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah ta'ala, put this in the hearts of all of us and make this something that's easy for us, inshallah ta'ala. Brother Ameen.
The same meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in the verse وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. This verse looks like the verse وَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And this verse encompasses what my brother Yasser and my brother said. This verse congregates. First, فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما. First, don't say even off to them. Off, the air while breathing. The word off is any word and expression which shows displeasure. So you are ordered not to say off, even off, and anything higher than off. Anything higher than off, it's prohibited. So don't say even off. فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما. Don't purge them off. Don't be aggressive with them. Don't be force them. Don't, okay? ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما. And say a beautiful word to them. Say good speech to them. Try to speak with them with the best way you can possibly do. Okay? Sa'id ibn Musayyib radiallahu anhu said that treat your parents as the slave treat with his strict master. Okay? واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة. The third one, the fourth one, واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة. Show them humility, show them modesty. واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة. Some scholars stated that من الرحمة, from the mercy, because they will be merciful with you while you are a child. Okay, من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما. This supplication, the fifth one, supplicate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be merciful, as my brothers Yasser said, be merciful with my parents. This is some of the duties. I can add, don't curse your parents. How? If you curse others with his parents, this man will curse you, okay? So don't curse, and this is a commandment of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay,
Brother
this is
Idris?
a little bit.
They pretty much have touched on most of the things. I mean, and just basically, try to please your parents, and you will know ways to please your mother that how no one else can know, because you should know that. Well, most people wouldn't have an intimate understanding of what pleases their mother and their father. So try to do these things and be patient with them. But I do want to interact, and I hate to pay the opposite man, but I think it needs to be said, because in Sharia there's a difference between, I don't think, if I remember correctly, Allah does not mention anywhere in the Quran where He tells you to obey your parents. He tells you to have birr with them, and He tells you to have ihsan with them. Why do you think He doesn't say ta'ah? Why? Because what if your parents obey you to do something which is not halal? If Allah told you to obey them, it would be a contradiction. So anyways, there's more details in this, but I'm getting into He never tells us to obey them. Why? Goes into the question of, can you tell your parents no to something? Yes, you can, but you need to have wisdom.
Yes.
Okay, you can't just, I don't feel like it. In other words, if you tell your parents no to something halal, you have to tell them no in the most gentle and kind and understanding way.
Right.
That you can't just be like, no, I ain't doing that. You need to have great wisdom. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never uses the word ta'ah as far as your parents are concerned.
I get what you're going.
So, and I would just recommend to try to do things that will please your mother. Everyone's mother is different. The small things that matter, that would matter to them, that maybe even no one even knows. Maybe she even forgets. Try to find and remember those things and do them, and help them, and generally try to make their life generally as better as you can, in whatever way that may be, physical, financial, emotional, whichever way you can.
Okay. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We're going to pause for a short break, inshallah ta'ala, and we'll be right back to continue this crucial discussion. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallahi al-azim. How perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Go ahead, Ya Shu'aib. Recite from ayah number 16 to 26.
Yeah, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد
والمتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد
جاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد ونفخ في الصور ذلك يوم الوعيد وجاءت كل نفس معها سائق وشهيد لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا فكشفنا عنك غطاءك فبصرك اليوم حديد
Now that we know more about da'wah, what would you say are the characteristics of a da'i?
Sincerity.
Sincerity. Yes?
Good relation with Allah.
Good relation with Allah. Okay.
Patience.
Yes, sir?
Good manners.
Good manners. And there is much more to that. Join us in our program, the Da'wah Workshop, by your brother, Dr. Rayyan Fawzi Arab, so that we could talk more about Da'wah exclusively on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to our live episode of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma, and today we're talking about the rights of the parents or the duties of the parents, alhamdulillah. Prior to the break, there was a comment made about divorcing your wife if your parents says so. And I just want to clarify that it is not something that's incumbent upon you. If your parents said divorce your wife, this is not something that Islamically Sharia says that you have to divorce your wife. Or something like this. You obey your parents, you listen to your parents within reason, within those things that are, halal and tayyib. If there's some parent that informs you or sort of encourages you or even commands you to do something that goes against the Sharia, it is perfectly permissible to decline, respectfully, of course, inshallah ta'ala. That's an important point that needs to be clarified, inshallah ta'ala. So nobody will go home with any misconceptions, inshallah, as the purpose of this show is to clarify and enlighten and not to confuse, inshallah. Moving forward, we want to talk about the things that you should stay away from doing with regards to the parents. Certain things that are frowned upon are taboo when, with regard with handling the parents, inshallah ta'ala. One of the things I want to start with is putting the parents in nursing homes and things like this, right? For me, it's something ajib, culturally and religiously, for your parents to take care of you all their entire lives, and then when they get to a certain age, you just sort of throw them away, and you put them somewhere where, out of sight, out of mind. Granted, there are places, like particularly in the States, where they do take very good care of people. For example, my grandmother lives in like an apartment complex, but she lives with my aunt, one of her daughters, one of her children, stays with her and takes care of her. And if she needs anything extra, we are right nearby, maybe 5 minutes away, to be there and take care of her. I'm not talking about this sort of thing. I'm thinking about a place where you send your parent off with complete strangers. And in many cases, they abuse these people.
Yes.
And I've worked in facilities like this where the older people, they have sores, they have beat marks and things like this, where people oppress them and abuse them, even sometimes sexually abuse them in these places. So I don't think there's any barakah that can come to someone that just throws their parents away like this. So that's one of the first things that we should stay away from, inshallah ta'ala, from doing. And even in the communities in Philadelphia, back where I'm from, a lot of the concern of the elders are who's going to take care of us when we get to the stages where we can't take care of ourselves. So, Brother Yasser?
Yeah, exactly. Even in the Arab world, actually, it's everywhere. So it's a matter of principles and manners of the person that who accepts, upon himself to leave, to reject the blessings that his parents have given him all his life. I mean, gave birth to him, raised him up. They advised him of what's good and commanded what's good and forbidden what's evil for him. And at the end of this stage, he'll be in a nursery house. So I mean, it's cold. And it's forbidden. What goes around comes around. So you have to work for yourself, not for them. At least if you have any respect for your or appreciation for your father and your mother, you have to please them if they are alive. If they were alive at the moment, just go right now to them. Kiss their forehead, kiss their hand. Tell me what you want. Whatever you want, I'll do it. Just ask me. If they were dead, if they passed away, say istighfar for them, say may Allah forgive them, forgive their sins. Try to make sadaqah, charity for them. Charity will do a great beneficial benefit for them, for your parents, while they're in their grave, inshallah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. And I just thought of something really, really important, right? Yeah. And this is like a monkey wrench in the discussion. Right. Mm-hmm. There are some people who grew up without, say, a father, or grew up, say, without a mother, right, through abandonment, or grew up with parents, and rightfully so, they treated them poorly. Yeah. They didn't, take care of them well. They didn't feed them properly. Sometimes they abused children. So what is the state of the person who grows up then and has the ability to take care of their parents, but they say, why should I do that when they treated me this way? I think that's something that's important to cover and to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to do, irrespective of other people. When we do the things that Allah ta'ala commands us to do, it's not necessarily for that person, but it's for our status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll give you an example of this. I was with a brother, maybe a week or so ago. And as you see, there's always poor people outside. Sometimes they're begging. But you never know who's sincerely poor and who's not, right? Yes. So I wanted to give a poor person something, right? And he said, no, don't do this. This person is not sincere, right? And I said, it may be true that they're not sincere, that they're not poor. But whether they're sincere or not, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm giving it to be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't do anything for me whether they need it or they don't. All I know is that my reward, inshaAllah ta'ala, is going to be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your obligation. So, exactly. So when we do things sincerely, Allah ta'ala will reward us. And even more so, if you were abused, and out of that abuse, you still say, I'm going to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's even more reward. So inshallah ta'ala, I haven't been through this, so I'm not going to pretend it's something easy to be kind and just to someone that harmed you, but I know that it's something that's pleasing, and may Allah ta'ala elevate you if you're going through something like this to, be obedient and to be merciful to your parents, if they are the kind of parents that weren't that way to you, inshallah ta'ala. Brother Ismail.
Yeah, you've mentioned a very good point, because I don't think that we should always look at the bad things that happen to us from our parents, For example, let's say our forefathers, didn't get the opportunity to go to school. Yeah. Their parents didn't send them to school. So today, will I say, for example, my own children, I said, because my dad didn't send me to school, I'm not going to send you to school. Right. It doesn't make sense, So, I mean, let's be good people, you understand? Yeah. What my parents were not able to do, they are human beings. They might have made some mistakes. Should I actually take that, okay, they did not do this to me, and I'm not going to do this. So no, just be kind to them.
Yeah.
There used to be a minister in my country, Sierra Leone. We are from the same town. This guy was the Speaker of the Parliament, and whenever he went for his parents, he always told his security, "I don't need any security. Why should I need security? They never killed me when I was young. They will never kill me now. And if I'm going to die, if someone wants to kill me there, let them kill me. I'll get a blessing." And that man lived for long with all we had military takeovers. He still survived. You understand? So whatever you do from good to your parents, you will always be rewarded for that. So with regards what you mentioned earlier, that about the marriage, I believe that we have problems today. Parents sometimes they feel like if my son is wealthy or he has a position, it's actually from me, the parent. So whoever comes to under the order or the control of my son or my daughter has to obey me. It doesn't work like that. And some parents actually misuse this opportunity. They always look at, this is my son. You are married to my son. You have to respect me. If not, you are going to leave this house. In this situation, I think people should consult the sheikhs who have the idea to solve the problem. If no solution is found, then I think it's easy for you to move somewhere. Don't push them out. For example, if it is in my house, I know that now I cannot handle this problem, and I don't want my wife to go away because my children are going to suffer.
Yeah, sure.
So what I should do, I will leave them to this house. Dad, Mom, I'm going to leave you here, because I make a very good excuse to help the situation, because things can happen. So I believe that for us as human beings, our parents are the most beloved people to us.
Yeah, sure.
So what we should do, if they had committed mistakes, and we should not look to those mistakes and say that they didn't send me to school now, I got a job out of my own efforts. I went to school, I paid for myself. Now there is no need for me to give them. No.
Yeah, exactly.
What about when that period of pregnancy, when you were young, you didn't know anything, they would have just thrown you away. So you have to actually obey them, give them actually what they deserve, and leave the reward to God. He will reward you.
MashaAllah, very, very good example and very enlightening. I remember when I was younger, my father didn't want me to study English in college, right? For West African parents, I'm not sure other cultures, but in West African cultures, particularly African cultures, when you go to school, especially if you have the opportunity to go to school in the States, you're either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer. Anything outside of that is unacceptable. So when I told my dad, he was like, "Oh no, you can't do that," right? He was upset. But later, alhamdulillah, when I began to become relatively successful with the degree, he'll go places and say, "Yeah, that's my son. He got his degree." But I can't go to my dad and say, "Oh, you didn't support me to do it." He's my father. Like, alhamdulillah, he wanted best for me. That's the whole point of it. MashaAllah, may Allah bless our parents.
Ameen.
But I mean,
one who disobeys his parents is considered disobedient or aq. And he should repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from such these actions. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned the punishment of the one who disobeys his parents. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, 4 types of people will never ever enter into paradise. The first one, the drunkard, the one who drank wine. And mentioned from the 4 types, the one who is disobedient to parents. Okay.
Can we clarify that? The one who drank alcohol will never enter paradise? I don't think that's correct.
This is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
No, I'm saying
this from the warning.
No, so there may be a word that says something explicitly, but what is the hikmah of it? Because we know that there were some people, even amongst the Sahaba, that drank alcohol, and the Prophet said they love Allah and he loved Allah and His Messenger. So let's clarify before we make statements like this, before we have a misunderstanding.
Yes, he will enter into. If we say that he deserves to enter into fire, but still he will not stay for a long time. If we say that he deserves the hellfire, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in the Quran, وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ خَالِدًا فِيهَا. The one who kills a believer, the one who kills a person, he will enter into the hellfire. خَالِدًا فِيهَا. This abiding or this staying in the hellfire, not for a long time, but in order to spend this a short period of time, and he will he will enter into paradise after that.
Allahu
The
A'lam.
same morning.
Allahu A'lam. I find that very disturbing.
And actually, there is a saying, and I don't remember actually, but it was like 3 things that were so difficult. You know, there's zina, which is fornication or adultery, and wine and some other things. You know, so they were presented to someone to select one of them, and then he selected wine, drinking wine. When he took the wine, you know, he committed all the other sins.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So the sin of actually wine is so big. But as you know, the Quran prohibited wine gradually.
Yeah, sure.
The first one was saying that there is a benefit, but there is a punishment for that, or the evil in drinking wine is greater than the benefits that you get from that. The second one came, and do not go close to prayer if you are drunk. And the last one, so gradually, so the impact of wine, of drinking alcohol, or taking this kind of all these things is so great in Islam, because they will lead you to committing other crimes immediately.
I agree. Sure.
Yes.
No, my sort of contention is with the idea that someone who drinks will never enter paradise. This is the first time I've ever heard anything
Well,
like
it depends.
that.
This is
No, someone
there's a
who
difference
drinks,
between-
he will never drink in paradise.
That's
He
not
will
what
never.
he- that's not what he said.
that's not what he
That's
said.
not what he
The point is, there's a difference between a general hukum that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and a specific hukum. Now, generally speaking, the Prophet may say something, but we can't apply that hukum to who do you apply it to and who it's referring to. It's a different
That's
thing.
what I'm talking about.
So I understand what he's saying. The Rasulullah said this, so it's true. But who does this apply to? We can't say that person or this person or he's not saying that. I don't think that's what he means. He's just giving you.
What is the problem? The Prophet ﷺ said, "لا يزني الزاني حين يزني وهو مؤمن."
But what I'm saying is,
doesn't mean that the Prophet
that's the
ﷺ
problem.
negates
When
the
you
iman
take
of disbelief.
with a hadith, there's a context to it and there's an understanding when he says it. If you're not a muhaddith, you can't just say the Prophet ﷺ said this. There needs to be an explanation. There needs to be a context, and even the lugha itself needs to be understood.
Yes.
So it's not as simple as saying, "Oh, the Prophet ﷺ said it. We have to accept it." There needs to be a further understanding, because somebody may take this, watching this, and said, "You drink alcohol, you will never enter Jannah." Is that what the Prophet ﷺ said?
No.
Okay, then let's be careful about what we're talking about here.
Bottom line
because
is
I know the person that would never enter Jannah is the person that dies upon shirk. That's what I know. Anything else, you can do anything else, and Allah Ta'ala will answer you if He wills. He can forgive you, except shirk. I never heard about alcohol. A person that drank alcohol in their life is, oh, you will never enter Jannah.
So what is the problem? This is the hadith of the Prophet.
Again, I'm telling you,
Let me clarify something. Hold on. Let me clarify something. Like as I was saying, that I understand what he's trying to say, because there's a general thing and a specific thing. Just think about the hadith where the Rasulullah said that a person who has a mustard seed of kibr in his heart will what?
Will not enter paradise.
So what does this mean? Does this mean that he can not have shirk and have this and never enter Jannah?
Yes.
What does this mean?
That's what I'm saying. It needs explanation. That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to bridge the gap, because there's a gap between what you're saying and what he's saying, and I don't think you guys are crossing the gap. The point I'm trying to say is there's specifically something specific and something general are two different things. He's talking about generally speaking, this is what the Rasulullah said. Generally speaking, it's true. Now, individually, of that person, Allah will judge. None of us can judge. If Allah chooses so that person will never enter Jannah, then khalas, he will never enter Jannah. Regardless of what he has in his heart, because Allah chose so.
I got that.
So
I understand.
the point that I'm making is that the gap is that you're thinking about specifically a person, and he's thinking about generality. That's the big gap between.
And also, I just want to make a quick point too. When it comes to hadith, there was a certain way the Prophet ﷺ used to speak in order to get his point across. This is like something in the study of hadith that people miss out. Whereas though, if the audience that he was speaking to, if the Prophet ﷺ would have said, "Don't drink alcohol, it's not something nice to do," right? They wouldn't listen. Okay, he said that. The person who drinks alcohol will never enter paradise, right? It's a different way of communicating what you're trying to say, and this is I forgot the specific term is called in the Arabic language, but it's a certain way to put emphasis on certain things. And this is something that the ulama they explain. So this, because the Prophet ﷺ says something like this, it should be explained why he said it, who he said it to, what is the meaning, what's the hukum of what's being said. I think there's a problem with people that just read the hadith and take it in Arabic and say, this is what he said and this is what it means, without explaining to people, and it leads to misguidance and mass confusion. Yes. So that's all my point. I'm not saying he didn't say it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying when you make statements like that, it needs to be explained further. Like Idris, alhamdulillah, he said, with the example of the person who has
that's it's not my subject today. I said the hadith of the Prophet.
Okay, but I'm clarifying.
But, okay, it's okay.
Brother Idris.
I just want to add something because I know we're getting close to the end.
Yeah.
I know we sort of went off track a little bit. There's a beauty of at least for the orphan. I would like to give a little hope because the orphan is in a great company. I mean, the orphan is just like the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He didn't have parents either. So for those who don't have parents, and you wonder, oh, how does this benefit me? How do I act? Look how the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam acts. You have guidance in the way he acted. He didn't have parents either. But how did he act? What did he do in his life? How did he treat people? How did he treat other people who treated him like they were his son? I mean, there were some people he treated as if they were his mother. They weren't his mother, but he treated them as if they were his mother. And this is just to give people, I don't want people who don't have parents to feel like this show is a waste for me. What does it have to do with me? I don't have parents. If the greatest man to walk the earth didn't have parents. You have guidance, even more than what we are saying. You have guidance on how to achieve success, even if you don't have parents in this world. So.
Yeah, I think that point it's a very good point. But you remember the hadith of the Holy Prophets when my brother mentioned here that when someone dies, all his deeds are cut except for 3, and including them, what you do, sadaqatul jariyah. And so you can dig a well, for example. You can even buy this carpets in the mosque, put them there. I mean, a lot of things, which they can be rewarded for. Yes.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We're going to stop here on this discussion, inshallah ta'ala. We pray that it has been a beneficial discussion and you will be encouraged to go out and serve your parents and sort of make them happy, please them, be of mercy to them. May Allah ta'ala bless our parents and increase them and allow us all to be righteous children and righteous servants to them, inshallah ta'ala, and obey them as Allah ta'ala commanded us to obey them, or serve them, or be merciful to them as Allah ta'ala instructed us. I'm your host Yusuf Krama. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name, Allah. I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah. Your mercy is great.